Hope everyone had a nice Valentine's Day. I celebrated mine by taking my wife to see the very romantic Nirvana the band, the show, the movie, and we had an absolute blast. Needless to say, it was a hilarious experience, and that might be the hardest I've seen her laugh in a theater. We went into this knowing only minor details. I knew it was being widely celebrated amongst the reviewers I follow, it was distributed by Neon, and that it was the product of a lot of work from just two dudes who started this whole thing on the internet. Little did I know, I'd seen some of their stuff on YouTube way back when I was younger. My wife knew even less than that. All she knew was the title. Scratch that. She couldn't even remember the title after I told her. So she knew nothing, and she still was genuinely entertained from start to finish. The reason I'm explaining all this is I think it may be best to go in with the knowledge that we had, which was minimal. This is a kind of continuation from a show that was on Viceland for a few seasons, and then before that, it was just a web series. But actually, seeing all that is not a prerequisite in the slightest. Fans of the original series and the show can still watch and enjoy the film right alongside people who haven't even heard of it, and I think that's really cool. The only thing I'd maybe say could help going in is about the comedic style and tone that these guys are instituting here. It might take a second to get used to, but just to know it's extremely dumb humor presented in the smartest way possible. This is simultaneously the stupidest and most impressive film I've seen in a long time. It's based in reality. I mean, many of these scenes are filmed in public with real people reacting to the characters Matt and Jay are playing, similar to a Sacha Baron Cohen project, but it's also somehow so ridiculous and cartoonishly over the top that it almost feels like it takes place in a different universe. You could easily knock this movie for the stupid nonsense it pulls out of its ass all the time, but that's also what makes it funny inside the context of the effort they've made here. I'd normally complain about just aimless goofiness, but everything is executed so smartly from a filmmaking standpoint that it's hard for me to even care. You ever see a movie scene where you're kind of just baffled on how they pulled it off? Yeah, that's pretty much this entire film. Clearly there wasn't a gigantic budget here, and they take advantage of so many fair use laws brilliantly. I just can't believe this exists in this way. It's so unshitty. It seems like it would have no business being this good, but it is. Sometimes I caught myself not giving this movie credit where it deserves some. Still, sometimes I'd catch stuff and be like, that's a smart way to do that. And other times I'd just be asking, how the hell? If you're looking for a good example of how to make a movie quote unquote the right way with care and effort and ingenuity, this is a shining example. Almost every facet of the process has great attention to detail. For example, the editing provides its own nuggets of gold. For a second, I thought the movie was doing that annoying trope of flashing back to a scene we already saw and replaying the same lines just in case the audience is too stupid to remember. But instead, they completely change what happened in the flashback scene, which is funny because it both shows how the character perceives that memory and even makes the audience start to question what they saw. The modification of these flashback scenes are so silly anyways that it's still hilarious, but that's one of those elements that rewards you for paying attention, which in my opinion is the best way to tell a good piece of art from a not so good piece of art. I haven't seen the show yet. I really want to now because I've watched this and had a great time, but apparently it does the same thing. It parodies the same style of flashbacks. So there you go. That's part of their style, making fun of themselves, being hyper aware of what it is, which is a nice trait that it appears they've always possessed. Knowing exactly what you are and then rolling with it screams confidence, and a confident project is usually a very enjoyable one. Feels like it should go without saying, but film is subjective. It's just one form of media that many will perceive in different ways. These are just a few of the elements on my scale that I use to determine the quality of something. Anyways, I'll leave it there. If I get any less vague, I might just end up talking about the whole thing. This is not a 10 out of 10, but spiritually, it might be. That's kind of partly why I'm getting all caught up in talking about my rubric for grading a movie such as this. If I'm trying to stay true to how I generally judge movies, it's an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 that doesn't really compare to a lot of other things. It's It's maybe the most unique 8 out of 10 I've ever watched. This and maybe One Cut of the Dead get those ratings, but are truly in a class of their own. This is one of those that earns a little heart next to it on Letterboxd, you feel me? Please go watch this and support these guys. They deserve the world, and I'll leave it there. Speaking of supporting creators, please subscribe to me. I don't like to say that, but I'm trying to make a vow to myself that in 2026, I'm gonna be super annoying in my videos so that I can get a 100K YouTube plaque and die happy. I swear to God, it's the only thing I've ever wanted, and my channel is a lot of fun. I make videos about all sorts of stuff, not just movies. I'd like to hopefully be the one-stop shop for somebody. Like, I just genuinely want to feel like a friend that you can shoot the shit with about anything, you know? So, all right. You guys have a good one.